In the last 62 years since Francis Rossi and Alan Lancaster formed a band that would eventually become Status Quo, there have been a number of advancements in the technology available for home media. When they first started, it would have been vinyl, then cassette, then CD, then MP3, and in video form, well, you watched whatever was over the air, and then you had home media, so VHS, Betamax, home projectors, DVD eventually, and then Blu-ray, and finally the modern kind of thing that's come about in the last 15 years is the advent of streaming. So the likes of Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, and all the free ones as well, Pluto TV, Freevee, and a new one which has started up called Tubi. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is a Status Quo podcast. Why are we talking about streaming? Well, in the last 15 years, streaming has gone through quite a big thing, right? It's a big change. So first off, basically companies just put anything they could on there because there was no real paperwork or things laid down. There was no foundation for this. They only had like old TV models, and so any content was thrown on there. And then originals started, first with Netflix and then with everyone else. So they'd be developing original content, documentaries, dramas, comedies, you know, The Crown, Grace and Frankie, etc., so forth. And then they'd start to revive things, so Disney Plus constantly doing Star Wars stuff, Marvel stuff, revivals of films, TV franchises, etc., especially for streaming. Now, there is another conversation that we can have another day, but for this one, while the companies have been focusing on the kind of new content, there are occasions when the most random of things turn up. Now, I mentioned Tubi. Tubi is a new streaming service here in the UK, which launched a month or two ago, and it's owned by Fox Corporation. Rupert Murdoch bought it about 5 or 6 years ago after Disney purchased the 20th Century Fox assets, so he kind of invested it into that to make a free streaming service with a lot of different content. Now, there's thousands of movies and TV shows on there, and this isn't, you know, like, it's not always the greatest of quality or the most well known, but it's nice to have all of this stuff available as like an alternative to paying $4.99, $10.99, sometimes like £20 plus a month for streaming. Finally going to get there. I was browsing round Tubi because for my job, one of my jobs, I write about streaming. Can you tell? I write about streaming and physical media, and mostly like vintage stuff in that space that manages to go through the cracks and, you know, be available other than like all the bigger stuff. And so I was looking on Tubi and I searched for Status Quo. And on there is something called Live Legends, and it had a fairly contemporary image of the band, maybe the last 30, 35 years, something like that. Fairly contemporary. Clicked on it, and it's Minehead 1990. So it's that programme that was made for the 25th anniversary with the concert at Butlins in Minehead. So it's basically the stuff that's been released on DVD and VHS time and time again, anniversary waltz. And all of those programmable bits that kind of stop it from being as timeless as it could be or as good as it could be. So interviews with journalists and old clips and pictures and stuff strewn over the thing. There's one setback as well that I noticed. From memory, I think it's in 16:9 as well. It's been cropped or stretched, which is horrible. But you can change that on your TV. You can, you know, make the image usable the way that it was filmed from there. So I just thought I'd tell you about that basically Anniversary Waltz that concert, with all the other bits as well, is available to stream for absolutely nothing. You don't have to pay for anything. You just download the app, search for Status Quo, and it's right there. And it got me thinking about where Quo material is elsewhere. I mean, there is a service via Amazon that has the Pictures concert on it from 2009 time, plus the I think the Party Ain't Over Yet documentary's on there too, under a different name, I feel. And Hello Quo, as well as being played on the BBC, so it's been on iPlayer occasionally, it's also on Amazon Prime, I believe, last time I looked. And the most random Quo-related material I ever saw on Amazon Prime, I'm not even sure how it got there, was highlights from, I think it was the first or the second Quo convention at Butlins in Minehead in the mid-2010s. That was kind of random, but it was nice to see, and it certainly prepared me for going later on. So yeah, I just thought I'd talk about sort of Quo in streaming. Those are the bits I found. If you're into streaming, I mean, I know a lot of fans are probably still buying physical media. I am as well, because a lot of that content is not available in the digital realm, and to be honest, a lot of even more what you might call popular, like TV content, is pretty much not being made available for whatever reason. So yeah, probably best to stick with the physical media side. Certainly as they release special editions of things all the time, don't they, and new stuff gets unearthed, so it's always good. It's always the best way, I think, to support the band and the people who make this stuff. But for, you know, a little 5-minute diversion, bits on streaming can be pretty good too. So yeah, have you found anything Quo related on streaming? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you again for another episode of the Quo-Cast.